And this afternoon, relief operation for victims of the Akosombo Dam Spillage is gathering pace. Support for the communities affected by flooding continues to grow. The Volta River Authority itself has committed 20 million Ghana cedis to helping deal with the situation faced by the displaced persons. I will give you a breakdown of the support that has gone there so far and the areas still in need of support. Also, here with us, I will speak to the president of the Ghana Bankers Association, John Ewa, who will tell us about the relief operation that banks are teaming up with some civil society groups to mobilize support for the victims. But today, government has been giving an update on the relief efforts so far. We'll this afternoon hear from the VRE's Deputy Chief Executive in charge of operations, Engineer Edward Kenzo, who has been addressing news conference on the latest.
We will work with NADMO, and as the Honourable Minister said at the beginning, the emergency centre which has been set with a calling number of 311. All is part of this coordination to make sure that this relief to affected communities is coordinated. As said, we will still be working continuously with NADMO to make sure these activities comes to one central point to make sure the release goes to those who need it most. On the way forward, I would like to say that we'll be working with the government and all the other agencies to see how best we can bring a lasting solution to whatever we find ourselves today. So that will be my answer to that question. When you go to the 20 million is money given initially. As the situation unfolds, VIO will still maybe add up to the money to make sure the relief that we've promised to give these communities, they get those relief. Someone asked of an additional spillage way forward. At least I can stand here to say that there'll be no additional increase of spillage. We are tracking the data that is coming, and we are going to control the gate per the data that we receive. For knowledge, at least yesterday we had some drops in volumes, so at least we've managed the amount of water that we are spilling out now. We've cut off some volumes out of it. The number of people displaced and the type of medicine supplied, that data, I think I'll leave it to NADMO, since they are the agency that handles disaster management. They have this data, and I'm sure in a due course they'll share it with all of us for us to do the total number of people affected. The medicine type 2, I know we are working with the district health services at the district level, the Ghana SS at the district levels. Type of medicine, I'll try and get the full details of medicine that are supplied and make sure in subsequent briefing we'll give you the type and quantities of medicine supplied.
So far, here's the major support that has gone to the community so far in terms of cash. So we'll break that down for you in terms of what's been happening on the ground as well, and also bringing you some updates we've seen going into the communities. But on the ground, what are the needs of? Join us shortly. Before that, though, let's break down the issues for you in terms of some of the affected areas and the issues you need to know about in terms of what's happening now. So what you see now on the screens is just giving you a pictorial view of our map outline of where all of these hotspots are. You see the Akosombo Dam up there on the Volta River, and you have its tributaries also there, but the source appears to be coming from the White Volta, which has its levels going up to a reason for which the Akosombo Dam is being spilled. Then there's also a proposed holding dam, which is supposed to have been the pond dam down there, which could have prevented this whole level of flooding that we have seen over the period. There are concerns because in the Bono East region, residents of the Vutudeke have resolved to actually restart their life in their farms and also bushes after losing their habitats to flooding. They are clearing the bushes to set up their homes, as the community is one of the areas along the Volta River. Badly reports that the community will need government support in starting their lives all over again.
All families in Votudeke have evacuated the community into higher grounds, which are mainly farms and bushes. Wooden huts, roofed with thatch, through communal labor, have been built by many units with nylons. These shelters are completely covered to prevent water from seeping through them. Many here continue to count their loss.
I trade in fish. My husband is also a fisherman. For months, we haven't been able to go to the lake. We beg before we eat. It costs 50 cedis to commute to markets and back. It is too expensive. Government should intervene.
The original Vutudeke community sits on the banks of the Volta Lake, with the majority of inhabitants working in the fishing value chain. Presently, the concrete homes are buried by the flood water. Without a boat, it's almost impossible to visit the community, which now experienced such flood disaster in 2010 when residents relocated to the bush. Leadership of the community say though they have lost thousands of cedis to the flood, they are looking at starting over.
When the floods came in 2010, we came to live here. When it receded, we never envisaged it will flood like this ever again. So we went back to acquire our properties there. Now, we have decided to make this our town. Decided to make this our town.
Fine. Have you moved them to some temporary shelter already, or you are now, in the process of doing that?
They are already.
Okay.
You see, no one is able to live in their original places of abode. So they already have been moved into these shelters that we say. Some of them are schools, community centers, and all those things around there. So we identify them there. Okay, that is why in our thinking we didn't just want to talk about the charity aspect of it, but the philanthropy part of it, the long-term impact. So that's why for us in our intervention we are talking about post-death. How do we reintegrate them? So reintegrate meaning bringing them back to the status quo.
Okay, we need to go, but obviously some of them are also there watching us in the communities right now. What message would you want to send from the Ghana Association of Banks to these affected communities and families that are going through very trying times now?
Yeah. So to all the families that have been directly impacted by this flood situation or the spillage, you should know that our prayers are with you. Hold on fast. Help is on its way. As banks, we have not forgotten you. We are working very solidly with United Way, who are experts in this field, and we will definitely help to reach you. And we call on our customers. We call on our stakeholders, major stakeholders, our service providers, to join us. And let's collaborate a lot more deeply with United Way so we can provide a lot more relief assistance to all the families that have been deeply affected by this devastation.
And we also need to laud you for this worthy cause that you're on. United Way, you'll be on the ground.
Yes.
They should be on the lookout for you, right?
Yes, they should. They should. I mean, we do this across the globe, whether it's the Maui fires in the US or whatever is happening, or Ukraine or anything. You find United Way, of course, in 37 countries around the world. And we in Ghana will also contribute our quota to ensure that we help people with their relief efforts.
I see, and we're grateful that you're joining us. Thank you, Felix, and also to John for spending some time with us. But joining us now via Zoom is Dr. Charles Nyaba. He's president of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana. For more on this, and especially knowing that this is impacting food supply situation within the country as well, about 7 regions we know this is cutting along some 8 districts in all. So let's speak to Dr. Charles Nyaba, who's joining us now. Doc, thank you so much for spending some time with us. The point about the impact on food supply, what's your projection as an association?
Yeah, thanks so much. Let me thank the Bankers Association for trying to come to our aid. Since this happened, as an association, it has been a serious challenge for us. We get call from almost all the communities that are flooded. So last week, we have to dispatch a team there to visit 23 communities from Akosombo, and then 7 communities from the north town. And the situation is that bad. We have 5,000 hectares of rice, maize, vegetables, plantain being submerged. We have a number of cages that were washed away. And then almost all the communities we visited, our members, they have to be relocated to other communities, and others move to higher grounds to be able to survive. So is that serious? Apart from the food security challenges that those communities will face, and Greater Accra region will also face, the livelihoods at the moment for those people to survive is what we are focusing on. Now, if you take Greater Accra region, especially Accra Central, we get about 70% of our local rice from Volta, Oti, and then Asachari areas. We get almost all our vegetables coming from there. We get fishes from there. So if you have these communities losing everything, now you can imagine what is going to happen to us come to this festive season. I know within the Ministry of Food and Agriculture itself, since 2019, the ministry has been advocating that Ghana should become self-sufficient in rice production in the next 5 years. And one of the areas that can help us achieve this agenda is in these areas. So if you have all the farmers in these areas losing all what they invested in their farms, you can imagine what will happen. When we did a rough calculation to cultivate 1 acre of rice, it's going for between 4,500 to 5,000. Then it takes 2.5 acres to give you 1 hectare. So we are looking at around 12,000 Ghana cedis to do 1 hectare. So if you have 5,000 hectares being destroyed, we are looking at 36 million. In terms of revenue, if you do 1 hectare, you are expecting to get about 20 bags of the mini paddy rice. And a bag at the moment is going for 650. So if you do the multiplication, we are looking at 60 million Ghana cedis that those particular farmers that will visit us are going to lose because of this problem. Now, speaking to those who are doing the fish, especially the tilapia, they are losing about 48 million Ghana cedis for the cages and then the fingerless that have been washed away. So it's a huge loss to the country and to the community as a whole. And that is going to have significant impact on food security in Greater Accra areas in those communities.
I see, but then we've heard from the sector minister, Brian Achampong, who's casting doubt over the point you're raising now, the fact that we're sufficient and this will not pose any threats to food security in the country. Why do you share an opposing view on this?
Yeah, of course, he's a sector minister, and he's to ensure that the country is food secure. So I don't think you should expect him to have at least put any negative information that might cause fear and panic. So I perfectly understand him and know the angle he's coming from. But I'm also speaking from the information I picked from our members in those areas. Because there's no doubt, nobody can doubt that these are areas that supply greater quantities of rice that we consume in Accra. So if those rice farms are submerged, I mean, this one is very easy for anybody to make such predictions. Okay, even though we are yet to gather enough data on all the other areas, on the number of acreages and the quantities in those areas that have been put in the market. But if you have a particular area that we rely so much to get these grains, vegetables, legumes, and the tubers, you can imagine what will happen. Okay, so that is our observation, and we are just speaking the reality on the ground. Unless
so let's look
the
for
sector minister is telling
okay.
me, unless the sector minister or any other person is telling me that these areas do not supply that amount of foodstuffs that are mentioned in Greater Accra areas and the communities around it.
I see. Let's look for solutions now. Where do we start off from?
So, in the first place, I like what the Bankers Association are doing. There are many other benevolence organizations that are already mobilizing support to get to the farmers. I also heard the ministry saying that they are allocating $40 million of the IMF money or the World Bank money to support the flood victims. These are fantastic ideas. We welcome that. We are only hoping that, unlike previous programs where relief items are always allocated to victims, end up given to other people who are not real victims, doesn't repeat itself here. So the first thing is to support the flood victims to survive. Then in the medium term, we are just hoping that the flooding will go down, the water will go down. If you take a VME scheme like this, the scheme is completely submerged, all the panels are broken down. So those who are growing rice on the upper lands will not get water right now. So it means they have to lose their farms. So we are looking at investment that will ensure that we'll bring the scheme back because it supplies a lot of water for farmers around that area. In the long term, these farmers are starting from square zero. So we are looking at intervention that support them with inputs, that support them with mechanization services, that help them to settle properly. Those who lose their shelter, if there's a way we can support them to at least put out their houses to be able to continue to do their daily activities. That is what we are looking to see.
Okay. The riverine communities are known for fishing. Fishing as well is something that they're engaged in. All of that is gone now, including those who are engaged in the peasant farming, as we know. Are you gathering more data on perhaps which areas they could move their activities to, just to provide them some safe haven for now, at least, just to be doing some subsistence farming while we wait for either relocation or whatever the next steps may be? Are you mapping out the area now to see possibly where their activities might thrive?
Sure, yeah, we are doing exactly that. As I mentioned earlier, last week, our team was as well there. We visited a number of communities around Akuse. We also went to North Tongue. We visited a number of communities. We are going second time because after return, we got a lot of calls from other areas that we need to actually go to ascertain the situation. Apart from what others are doing, we are also going to institute our own internal fundraising strategy to see whether we'll be able to raise funds targeting our members who are affected because we cannot reach out to everybody. That's what we are doing, and then also to try to come up with a strategy and put it before the ministry and whoever is willing to support to help us in going forward to be able to regain our livelihoods activities.
Already, you know that capital has been a challenge in the agri-business sector. I'm just wondering if you feel that there's availability of these funding sources just to do what you're embarking on.
Yeah, so one credit I can give to Ghanaians is that when it comes to things like this, I see many Ghanaians willing to help. We have different membership platforms across the country. In all other regions, we have Peasant Farmers Association platform in Western East, Bono East, Asante, Volta, Oti, Northern, Northeast, Upper West. Savannah, all these areas, when we put the issue there, they are all willing to contribute. So we want to take our destiny into our own hands before we look for outsiders to come in to support. So actually, we are going to tax our members. We have over 1 million members. So imagine each member is even given 10 cities. 10 times million is how much? That's 10 million. And that's what we are hoping to do. So very soon we will be launching that campaign. And I'm sure Joy FM on many occasions, we've been traveling with your team to actually cover things like this. I remember when we had a flooding in northern and then upper east region, we went with your team. We went around and then we even mobilized funding to support them. And I'm sure you also use your platform to support our agenda. So we are not going to rely on only formalized institutions to raise funding. We are going to target our own members in the first place and then target those who are providing services to our members. We have fertilizer companies, we have mechanization companies, we have agrochemical companies, we have funding organizations that we've been working with them. These are the institutions we are going to rely on. In the interim, we have already formed a small committee comprising of our own staff and the community members where the flooding happened. And very soon, when this launching takes place, I'm sure we'll be able to at least support some of them to move to higher grounds, get stability before we think of the support for them to take off.
Dr. Charles Nyama, it's a very trying time for many of your members. We'll wait to see what sort of help will come through. But grateful for spending some time with us. You're still with us here on The Pulse. We'll be right back.
We are calling all distinguished alumni, cherished friends and well-wishers of the University of Professional Studies Accra, UPSA, to join us as we climax the 58th anniversary of UPSA with a fundraising gala and awards ceremony. The date is Friday, November 3rd, 2023, at the iconic UPSA Auditorium with our guest of honor, Dr. KK Sapon, Chancellor of UPSA. Our fundraising gala is not just an event, it's a dynamic opportunity to contribute to the establishment of an endowment fund and the construction of an ultra-modern police station for the UPSA community, as well as rekindling old friendships on campus, networking with business leaders, and getting recognized for your charitable contributions. For tickets and donations, simply dial *771 *10# and enter the UPSA code 1850. UPSA, scholarship with professionalism.
Starting this October 20th to 11th of November, the African Football League. Who is going to be crowned Africa's champion of champions and take the lion's share of the 14.4 million prize money? Catch all the games streaming at www.AFL Africa and on FIFA Plus. The African Football League, our game, our home. Now let's shine together.
Under the auspices of the Munich Re Foundation and the Microinsurance Network, the National Insurance Commission, in collaboration with the Ghana Insurers Association and the Insurance Brokers Association of Ghana, are hosting the International Conference on Inclusive Insurance. It's official. The 19th International Conference on Inclusive Insurance is coming to Accra, Ghana from October 23rd to 27th, 2023. Over 400 experts from 50 countries will discuss ways of accelerating the growth and economic viability of inclusive insurance for emerging markets. Welcome to Accra, Ghana, an unforgettable experience of warmth, unique culinary delicacies, vibrantly colorful people with great strength and character. Welcome to beguiling Ghana.
And thanks for staying with us. The funeral of the Ga Manye, Na Dede Omaidru III, is coming up, and we need to bring you up to speed with what's been happening, and in a series of announcements that's been made by the local assembly, and also, as we understand, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly on the closure of shops and some other activities that will be happening leading to this funeral rites and other activities that will be marking the memorial of her passing. Well, fortunately, we've been joined by Nathaniel Atto, who's with our team, the Joy Sports team, but this time round, he's joining us wearing another cap, right? Because he's serving on the protocol committee, which is a subcommittee of the planning committee for the funeral, and that it's very trying times for those who are indigents of the Ga state.
Definitely.
But of course, we are also touched by this, and that's why we're focusing on every bit of her journey back home. But let's talk about what's been happening ever since the planning committee started its work. Where are we now, and what are the activities expected?
Thank you. So as we speak, there's a lot of activity going on at the palace in Kaneshie here in Accra. There's a lot of renovation work going on. New paths are being drawn out and are being filled up with the required material, right, to ensure that there will be smooth movement of individuals and groups on the day. Right. Because you do realize that this is a funeral for the whole Ga state. And considering the numbers that we've seen, the numbers we've recorded who have come over to the palace to sign the book of condolence, it becomes very important that we map things out properly, so that protocol arrangements also go very well. So the various subcommittees have been at work since, and you do remember that a couple of months ago, His Excellency the President of the Republic also signed the book of condolence, right, to officially open that aspect of the build-up to the funeral. And since then, we've had His Excellency the Vice President of the Republic. We've had His Excellency the former President John Dramani Mahama, and a few other and quite a number of other dignitaries come over to pay homage and to support the funeral. Yeah.
For those who are not aware of the culture, the custom of the people of the Ga state, what normally happens when you lose such a royal, and what's been her role within the Ga state?
Very well. So Nadede Omaidru III is the paramount queen mother of the Ga state, the entire Ga state. Right. So this goes to cover every other community or town that pays allegiance or swears allegiance to the Ga stool. Right. Okay? So this then gives you an idea of the magnitude of what we have at hand, or what we have to deliver in terms of giving her a royal farewell. Now, in our traditions and in our customs, there are ways and there are practices, specific practices under burying a royal of her stature. Right. Now, it is in that light that we have certain arrangements made between now and the weekend. Okay. So one of them, for instance, which I guess is the reason why
I'm asking the question too, yes,
is the question about whether or not we will have a curfew. Right. All right. Now, we're using the word curfew, but really it is restrictions. Now, for a trillionth time, I mean in quotes, the subcommittee led by Ni Otinto, who is the Gbese Mante, okay, have been very clear on the restriction of movement, because whenever there is the burial of a royal with this kind of clout, there are certain cultural practices, certain rites that are performed during the period. Now, during this period, you need a lot of peace. You need a very peaceful environment to be able to get these rites performed. It is in that light that, for instance, we're told not to have events with loud music and all of that. Because, you see, it's a solemn occasion. We need a lot of peace of mind to pay our respects as well to her. And every single person who is here, whether you're a Ga indigent or not, once you are here, or you reside here, or you have your business here or anything, or have a certain relation or other with the Ga state, you need to be a part of this. And these are our norms and our values. These are part of our norms and our values. So because of that, there will be restricted movement. That is it.
Okay,
Once night falls,
we've seen the announcement as well about a possible. No, it
closure
will happen. The closure of some shops.
Very well.
How long would that? Would that take?
So initially, it was supposed to be between the 25th and the 28th of this month.
Right.
But after further consultations and conversations amongst the members of the committee, it's been agreed that on Saturday, the 28th of October, no commercial activity will take place, especially in our markets. Okay, no shops will be opened in the whole of Accra. Okay, now it is very important that everybody complies with this because this is a collaboration as well between traditional authority, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, and also the Regional Security Council, which is led by the Greater Accra Regional Minister. So all of these organizations are together on this particular directive, and everybody is supposed to comply. It's a whole day of paying respect, and it's a sign of respect to the departed Queen Mother, and also a way of disciplining ourselves. That look, plan for it, that on Saturday, 28th of October, nobody is having any kind of activity. It is very important to note, however, as we wrap up this conversation, that there are categories of persons who will be allowed to do their business. For instance, mobile money operators and people who are like food vendors. And these are points that have been highlighted.
Essential services.
Essential services, basically. But thing is that you have to restrict your movement on Saturday. Very, very important. And especially when night falls as well, there has to be restricted movement. Nobody should be walking around. This is a very solemn moment. Away from that as well, all shops have to be closed.
I see. How about the funeral rites itself? What's expected to happen? Are we going through a similar procedure as well for for the funeral rites?
Okay, so there will be a pre-burial service on the 27th, and all of the activity will take place at the forecourt of the Garmanches Palace, which is being prepared for the activity. And then on Saturday, which is the main day, we will have a mixture of Christian and traditional rites, which will be performed, from morning. And so, numbers of people, as many people as possible who'd want to mourn with the Ghana state can be there. And the attire is red and black. And then on Sunday, everything will be brought to a close with a Thanksgiving service. Okay, so that's basically it. The rest of it really will be within the confines of the Ghana Traditional Council and the families involved.
Right. And afterwards, there'll be a new queen installed.
Very well. In accordance with our customs and our traditions. Very well.
I will be looking out for that. But Nat, thank you for providing some clarity and also educating me on the culture.
Very well. Thank you.
Beautiful culture indeed. And Nathaniel Wato providing us with some updates on that. You also need to be mindful. 28th of October.
On Saturday.
Yeah, on Saturday.
No commercial activity.
Yeah, no one goes out to carry out any commercial activity within that enclave. So you need to be very mindful of that. But let's move on and talk about health, because the Ghana Health Service is investigating the unfortunate passing of Nana Obeng, a 19-year-old second-year law student at the University of Ghana at the Ewim Polyclinic in Cape Coast. Nana Obeng's mother, Nelly Mills, indicated that she brought her asthmatic son to the hospital to administer a nebulizer treatment to prevent an imminent asthma attack. However, she's actually alleging that the medical staff administered an injection instead, which tragically led to her son's death shortly after. The Central Health Directorate says Nelly will have to wait for her answers after a thorough investigation and autopsy scheduled to last for the next 2 weeks.
I don't think anybody feels the pain I'm going through. If not, then I have sense will not be sitting down.
Nelly Mills is grieving. She's unable to pick herself up after witnessing her son's untimely death at the Ewim Polyclinic in Cape Coast. She tells me that her heart is in flames and nothing will douse it until she gets satisfactory answers from health authorities.
I left the food I went back to my shop with Isaac, thinking that he was eating, only for him to call me around 6:43 to say that I should come. When I opened the door and I can say, hey, are you not worrying me? He said, oh, ma, it's as if my asthma was to. And I said, oh, but there's no news. Because if your symptoms wants to come, you've been using Ventolin all this while, and you have your Ventolin pump around here, so just use it. And he said he has read about the asthma, that if he used to use nebulizer, that would have been faster than the Ventolin.
Her 19-year-old son, now being a second-year law student at the University of Ghana, perished at the Ewim Polyclinic while seeking to use a nebulizer to control his asthma.
When we got there, I saw two people there, one male, one female. I greeted them and I said, my boy was an asthmatic and he needed the help of the oxygen. Then the male guy shouted. I didn't know even Nana has already seated on the first chair there. Then the male guy shouted. But if he needed oxygen, was that the place for him? But I must get up and go and sit at the third chair. And I said, boss, this is the way you treat people here. We've never been here before. So if where he has sat, why he is certain is not the rightful place, I think you need to say it in a nice manner for him to move. You cannot maltreat my boy here.
Nelly said although she wanted to stay with her son, she rather chose to rush to the pharmacy to buy a prescribed medicine. But upon her return, Nana Oben's condition had deteriorated.
When we got there, only for me to know that the medicine was 7 cities. I thought that 7 cities, and they don't have it at the facility there. You let's go. So we were chatting with the driver. When we got there, I met my boy vomiting. He's vomited, and they gave me rubber or something that he should vomit inside. Something. And I said, what is happening? Then he got up, he became like a tent. So when I was shouting, they came to hold me that I should go out. Then my boy shouted that they've injected him. So I was asking, what injection? What injection? Nana is not here for injection. Who gave him the injection?
Nelly sits on the favorite sofa her son used to occupy in the living room. Her eyes are fixed on his dance videos on TikTok. She begs authorities to set her heart at ease by telling her why her son died.
I went inside only to go and meet my boy lying there lifeless. So I started shouting, hey, my boy is dead, my boy is dead, because this thing, the underfoot were orange. Then they said he wasn't dead. I said, this person lying down. So they took me outside. Later I was there when Isaac came to ask me that one lady is saying they should come and ask me the boy's name, the date of birth, blah, blah, blah. And I said, but you don't know anything about my boy. And you've injected him. Who paid for the injection? Who? Well, we are not there with any health insurance. I never went there with any health insurance. Who even instructed that medicine? Because we're not there for injection. Only for them to declare him dead. I asked the cause of the death of my boy. Because I needed to know. And they said they don't deal with that. But they gather all cause of death and discuss it at the end of the month. So we should go and put our complaints on a paper.
Authorities at the Ewim Polyclinic told Joy News that the Central Regional Health Directorate had ordered them not to speak to the media. Meanwhile, the Central Regional Health Director, Dr. Marion Oko-Usu, says a committee has been formed to investigate the cause of Nana Oben's death. An autopsy has also been done and results will be ready in 2 weeks. But until then, Nelly Mills will continue to stay in her son's favorite seat, hoping the outcome of the investigations will heal her aching heart. Jojo Kobna, Joy News.
Quite a touching story there. For now, we give you some hope because emerging a barber who does his work with dexterity with one hand. That's not all. He's also an athlete and a key member of Ghana's Paralympic team training for the Games in 2024. His story is one that evokes hope that regardless of one's condition, he or she can achieve anything with determination. Here's the story of hope told by Hannah Odami.
At a point, I wanted to commit suicide because sometimes when you go out, people will be pointing hands on you.
That was his best escape from the dejection, depression, and anxiety he felt because he had only one functioning hand. Amos Ahiagba, born with two functioning hands, narrates how and when that changed.
It's my mom who told him that when I was 6 years old, I went to climb a tree, and my auntie came to shout on me. So I jumped from the tree, and when I landed, I couldn't land well, so I hit. So after 2 days later, they see that my hand started damaged, so they rushed me from my village to Kolebu Teaching Hospital. But when they got there, the doctors confirmed that they are late, so they can't do anything about it unless they cut it. Otherwise, I might lose my life. So they just cut my hand, and after that, I was discouraged in life. So it took time for me to get close to my friends and even to go to school.
After finding the strength to finally mingle, Amos also decided not to stay out of the classroom. He forever thanks his teacher, who discovered his athletic talent through a compulsory physical education session.
So when it's time for inter-schools, no matter who you are, he will suck everyone to the field for you to do something so that you will see. So when I went to the field, he called me and I joined some groups of people to run. And he was shocked. When he started running, he was shocked. I became first. So since that day, he never jokes with me. He always comes close to me, and he always advised me that no matter what the situation, still God have a good plans for me.
A national coach, Ibrahim Aminu Suleiman, discovered Amos's talent during an inter-senior high school competition at the Elwak Stadium in Accra. That meeting changed the dynamics of his passion.
And I came to display my talent here, and a coach, Suleiman, he saw me and he said, I'm very good, so he wanted to train me so that I can become somebody in future. So that is what happened, and I become athlete. Now, me, myself, I see myself that I'm improving because sometimes when I stand with the able people, I can run past most of them.
At dawn every weekday, Amos sharpens his talent by training. Then after, he works as a barber, a skill he learned by himself. Barbering, he says, helped him raise enough money to pay for his senior high school fees.
When it's come for football, I'm inside. When it's come for athletics, I'm inside. And I'm also a school barber. So they used to call me Blessing because they think I can do all things by myself. I don't depend on anyone.
I see. And that should make you feel proud.
Yeah, my mom is not having, but sometimes she tried. Yeah.
But then it was the barbering in the school that was helping you.
But yeah, helping me so much.
Getting some money. How much were you charging the students?
More times I be in my schools, some of the students are the B. So if I see that you are the B, I'll charge you much. If I see you are hustle like me, I'll know how to.
So how much were you charging the B and how much were you charging?
The B is something I took 20 cedi from them. There is a certain guy. More times for Baba 30 cedi straight.
And he pay you?
He pay me.
Holarion of the Epitome Barbering Salon, where Amos works, said he employed him because of strong recommendations from many people.
After interviewing him and then he working for a day or two, realized that he can work. So quickly we said, no, this guy is good, so we should just keep him on. In life, we shouldn't cut off people with such condition. If you are inclined, bring your quota by helping them.
Emmanuel Havo, a childhood friend of Amos, talks about his association with his only barber.
He can run, he can play at the same time. The same person who can do two things together is unbelievable. So I would say those who are disabled, we should not see them and then go away from them. No, we should come close to them so that we can encourage them to do what they want to do.
Coach Ibrahim says Amos is very determined in his preparation towards the 2024 para-athletic competition.
We have gone to several competitions, second, third.
So
he have taught me how to be patient. You see, training able people and disabled people are far different. So if you want him to do something, because of one hand, he cannot get the balance well. So it's up to you, the coach, to be patient and let him do it according to what suits him, so that you get what you want from him.
Amos's hand is full now with barbering and athletics. He recalled that he used to be discouraged by disparaging comments and reactions made towards him, but added those emotions no longer trigger him to give up.
I had a picture of it, so sometimes when I look on it, like I feel like crying. So I know I wasn't born like this. Unfortunately, now I'm like this. Because sometimes people will just point hands on you and say, oh, by this time you went to store and this thing has happened and they cropped his son, and many people will say so many bad things about you. And sometimes when you are walking and you want to call somebody for a help or somebody for a direction, the person might not mind, maybe the person might think that you are come to ask of help of money or something. So every day I encourage myself that God will help me to go to the higher level, and always I stayed in Usain Bolt, and there is one guy at Brazil, he called Patricio. I always follow them on YouTube, and I want to also become a superstar like them.
The 100 and 200 track field runner is very hopeful. His dream of becoming Ghana's first para-athletic champion will soon become a reality.
I want to see myself that I'll become a professional athlete for the whole world to see what God can do. When you help yourself, God is also going to help you too.
His coach Ibrahim and friend Emmanuel are fully in support.
Amos wants to be the first para-athlete to win a medal for Ghana on track and field.
Amos has another wish.
I wish if I get money, I could do artificial to support myself.
For Joinis, I am Hannah Odame.
Well, his uneducated mother was married off to a stranger at the age of 13. The event, which happened many years ago, inspired him to establish an after-school program, Achievers Ghana at Mamobi here in Accra. Well, that's the story of Johnny's Impact Makers Award winner, Amadou Mohammed. Well, Amadou's organization has so far trained more than 7,000 girls in Zongo communities in robotics, electronics, graphic designing, and many more. He says Johnny's Impact Makers Award has projected his work, creating many more opportunities for him. Maxwell Agbagba went to meet him and comes through with this story.
Okay, so
it's just a few minutes past midday, and I find myself in a one-story building nestled in the heart of Mamobi. This unassuming space serves as a classroom, the center of knowledge for Achievers Ghana. Here, a group of dedicated volunteers from various tertiary institutions are leading the class, giving back to their community, inspired by the teachings of Adamu Mohammed. Here, I've met the man behind Achievers Ghana, Adamu Mohammed. His mission was ignited by a personal story, his mother's forced early marriage to a stranger.
She's a Kayayu, who got head port in Accra, and then she has 7 children, and I'm the only one that she sent to school. She's the one who sent me to school, not my father. And I can remember she's a victim of early enforced marriage. Yeah, she's a victim. She was married at the age of 13, and then in a situation, it's like she doesn't even know my father. And she doesn't even know that she's even getting married at this particular day. All that she knows is that
she was asked that there's marriage going on, and in the evening she's going to be taken toward a husband. She doesn't know my father. Yes, and that's the kind of life that my mom passed through. And she's a woman that I would say that I have never seen her happy.
Here in this room at Achievers Ghana, there are 3 different groups taking 3 different classes. This one in electronics or Internet of Things, this one in coding, and then this one in graphic designing. What is interesting about it is that the facilitators of these classes are all beneficiaries of Achievers Ghana. They went through this room and now they are back to give back to their community. I'm told on Fridays 50 girls converge in this room to take classes in robotics, and in the coming weeks Achievers Ghana will be rolling out the Zongo Reads projects, and all you need to do is your mobile phone to scan this and get access to more than 2,000 books.
Adamu Mohammed believes that is one of the surest ways of changing his community. He says Mamobi and its adjoining communities are beginning to reap the benefits of the project he started some years ago.
We have this Zongo Read project. Zongo Read project is a partnership between World Reader and Achievers Ghana, where you want every child in the Zongo community to develop the habit of reading. So with this, there's no way we can supply books to every child in this community. So what we did was that World Reader have an app whereby they have over 3,000 books over there. All that you have to do is to scan this. When you scan, then you just open this. You open this and then Book Smart. So you have over 2,000 books in there, from crèche to university, even including their textbooks. And so that's the project. So we are visiting over 100 households. All this will be pasted in front of their houses. So parents who wish their children to read, but they don't have money to buy storybooks for their children, all that they need to do is to scan, and then they have access to all these books.
Adamu says the Joy News Impact Makers Awards has opened a lot of doors and opportunities for him.
During our conversation before we started, I told you that we'll be going to Bojuase, Wenchi, Mankesim, in other parts of the world. And it is through the Joy Impact Award that we had. There's a lot of calls that they need our presence over there. And then one thing that this award is going, it has given the program a credibility. People now believe in whatever we do. This is not our first award, but I think Joy News is all over the world. So it has made whatever we are doing that people believe in whatever we're doing. That's why they keep on calling us that we should come and do programs with them. We shouldn't limit our program to only in Accra.
Aziz Ali Al Hassan benefited from Achievers Ghana. Now he's a level 100 BSc Information Technology student at the University of Cape Coast. School is on vacation and is here teaching the children basic robotics and electronics. Aziz says this is his way of giving back to the community.
The place that shaped who I am today. So it's just a way of giving back to the community. And not only that, I also believe where we find ourselves, we don't have role models who maybe we can say, oh, maybe this person came from here, so at least I can also get there. And even most of the people who even make it from the communities, they end up leaving the community. So no one, the kids coming up, they don't see, oh, so this person really grew up from here and this is where the person has gotten, so at least I can also do some. So it's a way of encouraging them that, oh, where you are now is just a temporal situation, and with hard work and determination you can get away from it. Yeah.
So what do you want? Cheese? Burger?
Sikira Mohammed joined Achievers Ghana when she was in junior high school. Now she's a level 100 student at the Accra Institute of Technology. After many IT classes at Achievers Ghana, she decided to study an information technology related course.
She is one of the volunteers teaching the students here a free course in graphic designing.
Sustained my life in a lot of ways because when I started Achievers Ghana, well, I don't even know how to use the computer or something. Yeah, but now I can do graphic design, web design, and robotics. Yeah. Achievers Ghana inspired me to go to AIT to study business administration and IT because I'm passionate because of Achievers Ghana. Now I'm very passionate about IT. I want to learn IT. I want to go I want to get to the top in IT. Yeah.
I am now here at the Al Walid Comprehensive Basic School. Some of the school children here are running to hug Adamu Mohammed after seeing him. His work is not only limited to Achievers Ghana. He comes here regularly to mentor the pupils here. He says he faced a lot of opposition during the initial stages when he started organizing classes for the children at Mamubi.
Actually, it wasn't easy for us when we started, especially this school that we are because it's purely Islamic community. So whatever you do and they think is violating their religion, you get a lot of opposition out of it. So it wasn't easy for me at all. A time came I was like, I regretted coming out with that chair. But there's one imam, the mosque that we have this, he who always work, said that, do you believe in whatever you are doing? I said, yes. If you believe in that, Islam supports what you are doing. Islam said that we should take care of a girl child until she reaches higher education. That is what Islam said. Because women are supposed to take care of home. How can a woman take care of her home if she has no knowledge on how to take care of that home?
Dangerous proximity of Galamsey and sun-winning activities near water bodies continue to severely impact the operations of the Ghana Water Company Limited, resulting in up to 50% treatment losses, particularly in the western region. The Managing Director of the company, Dr. Clifford Brymer, disclosed this during the 2020 edition of the company's Accounting to the Customer initiative here in Accra. He emphasized the gravity of the situation, revealing that waste water from mining firms in the western region surpasses the quality of water in the water company's reservoirs. My colleague Carlos Caloni has the rest of the story.
The 3 Accounting to the Customer event by the Ghana Water Company Limited, GWCL, saw the presence of Dr. Freda Prempeh, the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, alongside a Deputy Amidu Isahaku Chinia. It brought together staff and customers from all 13 operational regions to Accra, with each region showcasing their innovations aimed at improving water quality and customer satisfaction. Speaking at the event, Managing Director of the Ghana Water Company Limited, Engineer Dr. Clifford Brymer, expressed his concerns about the adverse effect of Galamsey and sun-winning activities, highlighting that wastewater from mining firms surpasses the quality of water in the company's reservoirs.
One is Galamsey. Some of our stations, because of the high turbidity levels, instead of doing 5% process loss and having 95% as clean water pushed into the system, will do as much as 50% process losses. And so between the 95% and the 50%, the 45%, the customers that were supposed to supply with it, who is going to do that? Water is not available for us to push in. And that's the challenge that we have in some of the centers, especially if you go to Takoradi. It's a big issue for us. Surprisingly, the chief manager and his team, I asked them to do a test of the quality of the water that the mines discharge and throw away. They went to do the tests, and the quality is far better than the one that we have in our reservoir that we're supposed to be using to treat it for you.
Dr. Bremer also pointed out that revenue losses due to illegal connections and illicit dealings by some unscrupulous staff and customers are among the significant challenges hindering the company's smooth operations.
A customer had his meter that was not read over a period, and our staff had the courage to talk to the customer that the readings on your meter is so high that if you want to bill you, you pay more. He negotiated with the customer to pay 1,500 out of 3,300 or 3,500 thereabouts. And this 1,500 is meant to go into his pocket. Unknowing to him, he was being monitored from day one.
Despite these challenges, Dr. Bremer maintained that the company is making substantial progress in terms of revenue and water quality.
2022, we collected 1.235 billion Ghana cedis as our revenue. And we are proud to say that from the auditors, we are qualified to have the ISO 9001 2015. And we've been assured that by the end of December, we should have that certification. What it means is that the quality of water that we producing, who can tell you that up to your gates, which is our responsibility, is to the standard.
The company has acquired more than 400 magnetic and ultrasound clamp-on meters which have been installed at 90 water systems to combat water theft. Carlos Galoni, Joy News.
And still here in Accra, 5 charity organizations in Ghana will in the coming days receive grants to advance the Sustainable Development Goals. The funds have accrued from the maiden edition of the Diplomatic Fashion Gala held under the auspices of the spouses of heads of foreign missions in Ghana. And according to the association, the fund will be utilized in the areas of health and education. There's more in the following report.
The maiden edition of the Diplomatic Gala held at the Kempinski Gold Coast Hotel in Accra brought together diplomats, designers and philanthropists aimed at raising funds to support 5 local charities in the areas of health and education. The event, which is under the auspices of the spouses of heads of mission in Ghana and international organizations, is also targeted at showing solidarity and goodwill to the people of Ghana. Robert Owen Jones is a member of the planning committee.
We had 2 goals. The primary goal was to raise money for very worthy charities in Ghana, and we have some fantastic charities that we're supporting. And the second goal was to really help support young Ghanaian fashion designers. And we've been very fortunate to have 7 amazing young Ghanaian designers here tonight. This year we decided to support 2.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like choosing Derek Jeter as the pinch hitter for your baseball team.
Jeter, you're in. We need a home run.
I'll give it a try. I've swung a bat once or twice.
That's out of here. Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Sustainable Development Goals, 1 in education and 1 in health. So, for example, in education, we're supporting libraries for children, and in health, we're supporting the Ghana chapter of Breast Cancer International and the Orthopedics Training Centre, which gives so much help to disabled children in Ghana.
President of the association, Naomi Michizuki, indicated that the group undertook this initiative as a way of making a positive impact on their host nation.
We are a force and we want to make a positive impact, especially on Ghana, because we as diplomatic spouses, we are only here for a limited time. We are not here forever. We come and go. So, What can we do? If we put our positive forces together, we can do something. And this evening is a testimony. This is a testimony. This is a proof that we are all here, no matter the creed, no matter difference of religion, no matter the color of skin, race, whatever. We are here tonight to put a positive impact on Ghanaian, the most vulnerable people in Ghana, our host country.
A few designers who participated in the event shared inspirations behind their designs.
I'm Hajar Said. I'm a fashion designer, and my brand is called Burda Création. I'm from Morocco. The collection you have seen today is presents Ghanaian traditional outfits with special touch of Morocco and other countries in West Africa. Why this thematic is because I like diversity. I really appreciate this diversity of culture, the traditions, and our very rich heritage in all Africa, if we can say.
My name is Travis Obin Kaspar, and I'm the founder of Ajabin. The stuff I showcased tonight was a mixture of my previous collection and my current collection. So interestingly, my previous collection was inspired by a book. That's a book that celebrates 100 years of African women, and that was like the title of the book is the African Lookbook. So for me, I was kind of like celebrating African women throughout the century through photography. And then this current one is very interesting. I was inspired by Nkrumah's personal interest in music and dance, because when you think about it, Nkrumah has a personal, thing for high life music and also dance.
Individuals and groups who contributed to the success of the event were recognized and awarded certificates. Esther Nkrumah's report read to you.
Cybersecurity remains one of the areas which can be leveraged to stem the teeming youth of employment situations in Africa. 113 students from selected senior high schools in Ghana, therefore, are benefiting from free cybersecurity training in Kumasi. The training is aimed at equipping senior high school graduates with employable skills in cybersecurity. There's more in the following report.
Cyber Ghana is a non-profit organization that aims at developing cyber and engineering capability in Ghana. Therefore, Cyber Ghana has organized the Magnet Boot Camp for all 2023 senior high school graduates. David Davo is the director in charge of technology of Cyber Ghana.
The purpose of the boot camp is a continuation of what we started with them when they were in secondary school. And the reason why we started this concept of cybersecurity with them in the secondary school is that we wanted to introduce them to the various career options and opportunities within the cybersecurity field, as well as giving them some of the basic skills that they will need and be able to build on going forward. This is because most people do not have, or cybersecurity is not something that is found or is included in the curriculum that is taught in the schools right from the beginning. But you see that elsewhere, you find that cybersecurity goes even at the primary school, they start teaching cybersecurity. Yeah. So we wanted to start with them from the very young age, as early as possible. Yeah.
He encourages the government to invest in equipment to promote cybersecurity.
What we have to do is for a lot of people or organizations or agencies or the government itself taking the stage or taking the pain to provide the resources that is needed to train enough people with the required skills that we need to be able to fill up some of these gaps. And that is what we have put ourselves to do, and we hope that others will also join so that it will be better, or we can have a wider coverage within the country.
Some beneficiaries were happy the training has provided the requisite skills in cyber security.
So far, I've learned a lot. Example, protecting myself, also scanning through disks and other stuffs.
Oh, I've learned how to use OS forensic to analyze and investigate cases, how to retrieve deleted information from pen drives and computer system. And I've also learned how to use brute force to hack a system.
Reporting for Joy News, Colinsia Eifa.
And that's all we have for you in this package of the polls. I am blessed to then log on to myjoyonline.com. Lots of stories there for you to catch up on. Until then, we'll see you again tomorrow. Next is Let's Talk Showbiz. Enjoy.
This is how we start an entertainment show. Now, this is Let's Talk Showbiz here on the Joy News channel, and here we actually discuss everything entertainment. And talking about entertainment, I have the likes of Adam in the news. I have Kwesi in there. And also, did you watch the Trace Awards this weekend? I have some updates with you. Our own comedian was on stage, and oh, boy, was simply amazing. And then musician Ashanti, how well do you know her? Well, we all know her in Hollywood, but there's something you definitely need to know about her. My name is Doreen Avio, and the show is Let's Talk Showbiz. If you're just joining me, this is Let's Talk Showbiz, and we're starting with rapper Edem. Oh, I think rapper Edem will not be the first, probably not the last to actually say some of these things, and it has to do with Gamro, Musica. It's like the musicians are naturally not happy about the way things are going with regards to the whole association. Some of them have called on leaders to help them find a way to manage it. It's not working. I mean, Musica, recently elections, one way is cut. No, it's not happening. Now we have a new president. Gamro, yes, Rexoma is there, but what's going on? Now, Adam was on Showbiz A to Z, and he just said everything. He said, look, the man said that everything about Gamro music, he said, is all bogus. Let's listen to Adam on the show.
I think Gamro is bogus, personally. I don't care what anybody thinks, but I think that we're in an era where there are solutions for royalty collection everywhere in the world. So the government should be looking in those directions. And if you think you don't have the patience, join ASCAP, join CSAC, don't wait. Because you are going to have to leave a legacy for your kids. And the Bible says a good father leaves legacies and properties for his child. And so whilst we are working on Gamro, the world is in a new era of technology. Nobody can be making excuses of we find it difficult to track or to find out. And then if there's any media mafia who is also sitting on top of things so that they don't pay royalties for music being played, I know it doesn't work in Ghana. We are all Christians, but God never touches in our
we are
leaders
not all
your
Christians,
heart, but
though.
may God touch your heart. And to my Muslim brothers, may Allah touch your heart. Yeah, I think that for Musica, if it doesn't become an institution that is run by people who have the know-how, but we think that